She's not ignoring you because she's confused. She's ignoring you because somewhere in the last conversation, you told her, without saying a single word, that she doesn't have to work for you anymore. Read that again. Every text you sent within 3 minutes. Every plan you rearranged. Every, I'm fine, whatever you want. She registered it, not consciously, underneath. In the part of her brain that decides, in half a second, whether a man is a prize or a placeholder. You think you're being kind. She's reading it as available. And the terrifying part? Most men never find out why the woman they wanted stopped wanting them back. They just feel the distance grow and call it bad luck. It's not bad luck, it's psychology. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So what actually makes a woman lean in, and what makes her quietly walk away without ever telling you why? If you're watching this at midnight, replaying a conversation that ended 30 minutes ago, trying to figure out what you said wrong, I'm not here to tell you to just be confident. You've heard that 100 times and it changed nothing, because confidence isn't the missing piece. Understanding is. This is for the man who's tired of guessing. The one who's read the articles, watched the videos, tried the tricks, and still watched a woman he wanted pull away for reasons he couldn't name. You're not broken. You're not too nice. You've simply never been shown how a woman's mind actually evaluates a man, because most of what gets taught online is either recycled nonsense or manipulation dressed up as strategy. Here's what makes this different. I'm not going to give you lines to memorize or games to play. Games get discovered, and once a woman senses a script, she checks out completely. She may not say it, but she feels manipulated, and that feeling is unrecoverable. What I'm giving you instead is the actual mechanism behind female attraction, how it's built, what strengthens it, what quietly kills it, and why so many good men accidentally do the second one while trying to do the first. By the end of this video, you'll understand 3 things almost no one explains clearly. You'll understand why availability and interest are not the same thing to a woman's mind, and why confusing them is the single most common mistake men make. You'll understand the real psychological difference between a woman who's attracted and a woman who's just being polite, because they can look identical on the surface, and men mistake one for the other constantly. And you'll walk away with a practical, repeatable way to build genuine desire, not temporary interest, not a fling, but the kind of pull that makes a woman think about you when you're not there. Here's what I want you to sit with for a second. There's a specific moment. I'll show you exactly where it happens. Where a woman's brain makes an unconscious decision about whether you're someone to invest in or someone to keep at a safe, friendly distance. That decision happens faster than you think, and almost nothing you say afterward can undo it if you get it wrong. And there's a second thing I need to tell you, something most relationship content will never say out loud because it's uncomfortable. Sometimes the reason she pulled away has nothing to do with you being inadequate. It has everything to do with a psychological pattern she's not even aware she's running. I'll explain exactly what that pattern is and how to work with it instead of against it. Stay with me, because the next part is where most men realize they've had it backward the entire time. Most men believe attraction works like a transaction. Be good to her, be present, be available, and eventually she'll feel the same way back. It sounds fair, it sounds like decency should be rewarded. It's also almost completely wrong. Female attraction isn't built on fairness. It's built on a psychological process called value calibration, an unconscious, constant recalibration of how much a man's presence is worth based on how he carries himself, not how much he gives. Here's the part that stings. Giving too much too early doesn't increase your value in her mind. It decreases it. Because scarcity is one of the oldest signals the human brain uses to judge worth, in mates, in opportunities, in everything. When something is unlimited and freely given, the brain quietly downgrades its importance. That's not cynicism, that's neuroscience. So when a man makes himself endlessly available, always replying instantly, always agreeable, always rearranging his life around her, he thinks he's proving devotion. Her brain is registering something else entirely. This resource is unlimited, so it requires no effort to keep. Let me give you the scenario, because you've probably lived some version of it. You meet someone. The first few weeks feel electric. She's texting first, she's making plans, she's clearly interested. Then you relax. You start showing up fully, dropping any restraint, proving how much you care. And slowly, without a single argument, she starts pulling back. You didn't do anything wrong. You just removed the one thing her brain was calibrating against: uncertainty. This connects to something psychologists call attachment activation. Desire isn't a steady state. It's activated by tension, by the possibility that something could be lost. A relationship with zero tension doesn't feel safe to a woman's attraction system. It feels flat, comfortable maybe. But comfort and desire are processed differently in the brain, and most men only ever build comfort. Now here's the truth almost nobody tells you. This isn't about her being shallow or playing games. It's evolutionary wiring so old it predates language. Historically, a mate who was instantly, effortlessly available carried more risk, less selectivity, often signaled lower status, lower resources, lower protection. A woman's brain still runs that ancient calculation today, even in a world of dating apps and text messages, even when she consciously wants to believe otherwise. There's a second layer to this, and it's called cognitive dissonance, and it explains why women sometimes pull away from men who are objectively good for them. When a woman's actions and feelings don't match, when she's receiving consistent effort but doesn't feel a matching pull of attraction, her brain doesn't sit comfortably in that gap. It resolves it. And it usually resolves it by convincing itself the man isn't right for her, because that's psychologically easier than admitting the imbalance. So the men who chase the hardest often manufacture the very outcome they're trying to prevent. This is also why nice isn't the problem people think it is. Kindness isn't unattractive. Kindness with no boundaries is. A woman needs to feel that your warmth is a choice you're making, not a compulsion you can't control. The moment she senses you do absolutely anything to keep her, the tension collapses, and so does the pull. Here's the question that should be sitting in your chest right now. If constant effort doesn't build attraction, what actually does? That's exactly what I'm about to show you. This is where we go from psychology to action, 4 steps. Each one rebuilds a specific part of how a woman's brain evaluates you. Don't skip any of them. They work together, not in isolation. Step 1. Reclaim your center of gravity. Here's the action. Build a life so full and purposeful that any woman is joining something, not completing something. That means your goals, your friendships, your routines, your standards stay intact whether she's in the picture or not. Here's why it works on a psychological level. Humans are drawn toward stability and repelled by dependency, even when they can't articulate why. A man whose mood, schedule, and self-worth all orbit one woman is broadcasting emotional dependency, and dependency reads as a warning sign to the very part of her brain responsible for selecting a strong partner. The mistake most men make here is confusing center of gravity with coldness, deliberately withholding warmth as a strategy. That's not this. This isn't a performance. It's genuinely having a life worth protecting, so your presence with her comes from abundance, not need. The moment it becomes a manipulation tactic, she will sense it, and it will backfire completely. Step 2. Let curiosity do the work. Language can't. The action is simple. Stop over-explaining yourself. Stop narrating every feeling, every plan, every emotional shift in real time. Say less than you think you should and let her ask. The psychology here is called the Zeigarnik effect. The human mind remembers and fixates on things that feel unfinished far more than things that are fully resolved. A man who explains everything closes every loop immediately. There's nothing left to wonder about, and wondering is where attraction lives. The common mistake is silence used as punishment, going quiet to make her chase, which she will feel instantly and resent. This isn't withdrawal, it's restraint. There's a difference between a man with nothing to say and a man who simply doesn't say everything. Step 3. Match her effort. Never exceed it, and never fall visibly behind. The action is precise mirroring. If she initiates once, you initiate once. If her texts get shorter, yours do too, without coldness, without drama, just calm recalibration. Why this works? Reciprocity is one of the strongest psychological signals of genuine mutual interest. When effort is wildly unequal, both people unconsciously register the relationship as unbalanced, and imbalance breeds resentment on one side and disinterest on the other, usually the side doing less. The mistake men make is treating this like a game of chicken, deliberately going cold to test her. That reads as manipulation, and women are far better at detecting manufactured coldness than most men assume. Match, don't manipulate. Step 4. Hold your standards like they're non-negotiable, because they are. The action, decide in advance what you will and will not accept in how you're treated, and never compromise that line to keep someone around, no matter how much you want her to stay. The psychology. Standards function as a proxy for self-worth. A woman's brain is constantly, unconsciously asking one question about you. Does this man value himself? A man who bends his own standards to avoid losing her is answering that question with a clear no, even while trying desperately to say yes to her. The mistake here is the most common one of all, mistaking standards for ultimatums. Standards aren't threats you announce. They're boundaries you simply live by, calmly, without needing her to witness or approve of them. Put these four together and something shifts. You stop performing for her attention and start becoming someone whose attention is worth earning. That shift is the entire game, and it's the one thing manipulation tactics can never fake, because it isn't a tactic. It's who you actually are underneath the anxiety. I know where you are right now. It's late, probably later than you'd admit, and some version of this situation is running on a loop in your head. You're doing the math on when she last replied. You're wondering if staying quiet makes you strong or just makes you invisible. That anxiety is real, and I'm not going to pretend it isn't. But here's what that 3 a.m. spiral is actually asking you to do. It's asking you to abandon everything you just learned the moment it gets uncomfortable. It's asking you to send the text you know you shouldn't send, to explain yourself for the 4th time, to prove your worth to someone who should be discovering it, not receiving a lecture about it. Don't. Here's the reframe that changes everything. The silence you're sitting in right now isn't emptiness, it's construction. Every time you resist the urge to chase, to over-explain, to shrink yourself down to fit someone else's pace, you're not losing ground. You're building the exact quality that made you attractive to begin with. Restraint isn't the absence of feeling. It's feeling something fully and choosing not to let it run the show. This is where most men quit, right before it would have worked, because patience feels indistinguishable from failure in the moment you're living it. The man who reacts to every silence with panic never gets to find out what would have happened if he'd simply stayed steady. He interrupts his own outcome before it has a chance to arrive. Understand something about what you're actually building here. This isn't really about her. It's about becoming a man whose peace doesn't depend on another person's response time. That man is rare. That man is magnetic. Not because he's playing hard to get, but because he genuinely doesn't need to perform for anyone's approval anymore. Women feel that difference immediately, even if they couldn't explain it in words. So the next time the anxiety hits, and it will, I want you to remember this. Uncertainty isn't your enemy. Your reaction to uncertainty is the only thing that's ever actually cost you what you wanted. The men who master their response to not knowing are the ones women remember. The men who can't sit in that discomfort are the ones women forget by next week. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are, right now, in the exact moment where most men give up, which means if you don't, you're already ahead of almost everyone else trying to figure this out. Let the silence work for you instead of against you. Let her come back to a man who didn't need her to. If this hit something in you tonight, hit subscribe, because there's more of this coming, and I don't want you scrolling for it later at 3 a.m. And tell me in the comments, where are you right now, chasing or holding steady? I read every single one, and some of you need to hear that you're not the only one wide awake tonight.